Right. Well, welcome to our Wellness Wednesday today. Good to see some of you. Would love to see your faces if you're able to show your face. I tell people it feels like it's either my husband looking over my shoulder as I'm reading, and I'm like, that drives me crazy. My kids all know that. Or they're spying on us. But we will not judge if you keep your camera on because sometimes I know there's things going on. But if you're able to, show your face. We love that. Just seems a little more intimate and stuff. Okay, let me share my screen now and find there we go. My buttons are so different. All right, so today it's our Natural Solutions workshop, and we are going to be focusing on sleep. But with that being said, maybe some introductions in here. I'd love to hear where you're showing up from. Just go ahead and put that in the chat. If it's a state, country, city, whatever you want to put in, so we can kind of see where people are at. What time zone are you on? Let me see if I can find my chat thing now too. All right. Awesome. Utah, Los Angeles, anyone else? Riverside, California, San Francisco, Memphis. I didn't know, Marina, you were in San Francisco. It's been a long time since I've been there. In Memphis, Tennessee. I haven't been to Memphis, but I've been to Nashville. SoCal, yeah, Debbie. Okay, so no East Coasters here, but welcome everybody. I'm Stacey Paulson. If you don't know who I am, I've been with doTERRA for a long time and love it. Yeah, we have California sure reps here. Good job. Mom of 6 kids and 3 adults, 3 not adults. Super fun. I love it. And getting into essential oils and doTERRA things for me was because I had some health challenges. And I would love for you to put in the chat as well. What is maybe one of your top concerns, either for you or somebody in your household right now? Because I know things can fluctuate. Sometimes we have chronic things that we're dealing with. Other times it's just something that comes up. So is there anything that you're dealing with right now that would like to go away? Digestive issues, joint pain, metabolic things. Don't be shy. Muscle tension. It's funny, this morning I woke up with, I was like, I usually love to get up and go running, but I felt like there's got to be an infection in my brain. It feels like it's swelling. And so I had this little concoction and just rubbed it with some castor oil on my forehead. It was like oregano, on guard, tea tree, lemon, that combination. Just rubbed it on there, laid down for 10 minutes, and holy cow, like no new woman. So that was something today. I was like, oh, I just want to get rid of this. Lack of energy, hypothyroidism. Yeah, that can be super frustrating. All right. Well, feel free to put in there if you have anything. And as we're going in digestive, energy, sometimes sleep. Okay. So we'll make sure that we cover all those. And if there's anything else you want, either share experiences with or questions about that we don't cover, we'll for sure want to cover those. And you're welcome to unmute or post in the chat. But one of the things we need to understand is that better health actually starts with better sleep, because there's a lot of things that sleep impacts. So put in the chat if you can think of why sleep is so important. Just one word to you. Why is sleep so important? Sanity. Right? It's like mental health. It's harder to be emotionally well if you're having a lack of sleep, for sure. Our bodies heal when we rest. Yep. Hormones. Yes. Solidify memories. Oh my God. Yeah, you're like awesome. So there's just so many things that happen while we sleep, and challenges that arise. So sometimes, especially with traditional healthcare, as we'll talk in just a second, is that we might have a hormone imbalance. And so traditional healthcare would be treating the hormone imbalance, but that imbalance might be because of a lack of sleep. cognitive issues, things like Alzheimer's, weight gain can be because of lack of sleep, because it disrupts your hormones, and also can cause a lack of control, the hunger control, cortisol levels, stress levels. It can weaken your immune system. So maybe you're dealing with immune challenges. And really the heart of it is that you're not getting enough sleep. Emotional things, we kind of mentioned those. Stay healthy, sound mind. Yeah, lots of good things. Thinking about cardiovascular disease, dementia, diabetes, other chronic conditions can stem from a lack of sleep. So as I mentioned, traditional healthcare, and I'm not opposed to it. I just feel like we overuse it because we may not know other ways that we can support our bodies. So oftentimes what that is, we have a symptom, we have a hormone imbalance, and we'll go to the doctor and they'll give you a medication. And so that's treating a symptom instead of the root cause. Like, what's the underlying condition there? And a more natural approach is where we're trying to address root causes. And we'll talk about some of those things that we all can address for many different conditions that might go away if we're really working on foundational wellness. And as we take care of those foundational things, a lot of the symptoms go away. So we're not just playing symptom management throughout our lives. And I love this for those who have been in these classes, workshops. We always talk about the wellness pyramid. And the reason why is because we don't want to just slap a Band-Aid on something and just use a natural product to treat a symptom, just like a synthetic drug or something, right? We don't want to just be replacing that, even though there might be less side effects or addictions with something more natural. We still want to get out of the mindset of something comes up, I'm going to do this. Something comes up, I'm going to do this. And so we're really in that kind of a stress response to things that come up, instead of being really proactive and putting in place things that will help us to have foundational wellness. And so the two biggest things are nutrition and digestion. Nutrition, getting enough nutrients into our body. The digestion is actually absorbing those nutrients. And so over time, if we're not getting those two things specifically, we may start seeing other things go out of balance in our lives, right? And then you kind of move up that wellness pyramid. You see that rest and manage stress are up there on this wellness pyramid. And so those are also things that we do want to address, is making sure that we're getting enough sleep and being able to manage our stress. So just quickly going through this, I won't go too in depth because I do want to get to really focusing on the sleep, because there's a fun sleep challenge that doTERRA is doing that if you want to participate in, you can. But really the root cause of disease, I would really say, are nutritional deficiencies and toxic overload, right? We're not getting enough nutrients in our body, or our bodies aren't absorbing those, which can cause inflammation, can cause, other problems within different systems of our body to kind of go out of whack. Or we're also, or being exposed to a lot of toxins. We're not eliminating those toxins. We're not trying to prevent some of those toxins. And so it's actually causing damage to our bodies. We might have a toxic overload over time, being exposed over time to these things. And so it's just really being mindful of those. Most Americans are deficient in nutrients. You can see there. So most of us on this workshop are deficient in something, unless we're really managing that well with food, making sure we're getting the right nutrients into our bodies. And then also just being mindful, we can be exposed to toxins in so many different ways: medications, food, things within our home, heavy metals, there's just so many different ways that we are exposed to toxins from the time that we are, in our mother's womb to the age you are. Throughout our life, we are being exposed to toxins. And the thing is, our bodies are pretty amazing that they're made to be able to filter those. But that toxic overload is really where we're putting more stress on our body than it can handle. And so it's taking resources maybe from one place to manage the toxins and trying to get rid of those. And so then you're also starting to see some of these things pop up, whether it's fatigue, hormone imbalance. It could be any of these things that you're listing here, or things in the past that you've dealt with, right? And so a lot of people are taking supplements. You go to Costco, usually Costco is pretty on top of like some research. And so if you see it in Costco, it's probably like there's something out there that says, take this thing, right? And so Costco will come with some version of something. But it's kind of sad because a lot of the supplements that we take, there was a study done that was done by the FDA from 2007 to 2016. So a pretty long study. And they detected contaminants in 776 dietary supplements that were produced by 146 different companies. And that's how many years old? Like quite an old, not quite, but it's pretty old. And thinking of how much more do we get from Amazon? I mean, Amazon just did, like, they have their own little pharmacy. And like, where do those drugs come from? I'm thinking China. I don't know, right? So like, it's just be aware of what you're consuming. It may be contaminated. But then like the 3 leading memory supplements, only one of them actually contained the active ingredient. So just be mindful of the things that you're consuming. And that is one of the reasons why doTERRA isn't just essential oils, right? Their number one selling product is, it's called Lifelong Vitality if you're not familiar with it. But these are 3 different supplements that help you to get the nutrients that our bodies are most likely deficient in. Or if you're like me, you don't like to try to track what you're eating and play that guessing game. Like I just don't like that. And so I know by taking those, I'm at least getting inside my body the nutrients that it needs, and they're in a whole food form, so our bodies recognize it. They're not synthetics. There's also essential oils in there that are phenomenal for helping with inflammation, with digestive support, just so many great things. Most people who use them, they experience less pain, less inflammation. They experience more energy, better mood. So again, number one product of all the things that doTERRA offers, it's $2.5 billion company that's global, and that's their number one product. And the reason that's really something to think about is that if people are getting results, then they will continue to purchase it, right? And so customers are seeing those results. That's why it's the number one product. And these are just some kind of testimonials I pulled up. People who dealt with migraines, energy levels, sleep, digestive issues, mood, their hair, nails growing better, faster, longer. You see that there's a lot of things that we might be dealing with that are a nutritional deficiency. And that once we start really getting those things into our bodies, we start seeing some differences. This was my friend who, she had been on an antibiotic for something, I don't even remember what it was, but she had this reaction to it, like a toxic reaction to it, and she could not get rid of that rash. She had been using different creams, the doctor's like prescribing whatever, and she just could not get rid of it. And she finally started taking the Lifelong Vitality supplements. And within a few days, she said she started feeling the inflammation go down. And within, I don't know if it was like a couple of months, I can't remember how long, the date's too small on there. But like she saw that it was going away. And that really lends to that idea of like our bodies can filter things. Our bodies can handle certain toxins and can eliminate those. But if there's a toxic overload or for a lack of nutrients, that our bodies might not be working optimally. And this is just a 60-day clinical trial that doTERRA did for the Lifelong Vitality. And you can see, and people weren't changing their diet, their exercise, anything like that, any kind of lifestyle changes. But just by taking the Lifelong Vitality, there was changes in their blood lipid levels, their cardiovascular markers. I love the one with the overall improvement with mental clarity, energy, motivation, control, balance, happiness. And so be thinking about that for yourself or people that you love, or even, people that you don't like because they're ornery. Like, you need to take this. So just be mindful of that. I always want to address, like, there's certain things that we can do from a foundational level versus just treating symptoms. And then just one other product I want to talk about before we jump into essential oils is this one right here, the PB Restore. So this is a newer product from doTERRA that is a probiotic, a prebiotic, postbiotic, pretty phenomenal product that helps you to really build up the gut microbiome and other microbiome throughout your whole body. So it's not just about digestion, but it's about your microbiome. And so there's microorganisms that live all over our body. They help with our immune system. They help with our skin. They help with our like digestion and all that, absorbing nutrients, breaking down nutrients, and also synthesizing different vitamins. And so like vitamin K, we can't, like, we will make that if we have a really healthy gut. And so if we're getting the right nutrients and we're eating, foods that are good for us, but we're not able to break it down and then absorb it, then it's, again, we have a nutritional deficiency. And so just be thinking about that. Those are two products that are really helpful if you're wanting to create that foundational wellness. And Dr. Von Watts, so he is a functional medicine doctor, and he really is working with a lot of patients and trying to help them like really spot like what are the underlying problems with conditions that people were having. I think he dealt with a lot of was it remind I don't know, Faye, if you know like his expertise, if it was in like thyroid issues. I think that's what it was. And so he was a lot of his patients were he was treating that way, and he'd do blood work and see like where they were deficient and help them change their lifestyle. And he remembers having this one patient where they were doing all the things and nothing was changing. And come to find out, I think he was like an alcoholic. He had like all of these problems going on, and but he wasn't able to move his health markers. And he said, I remember thinking, like, what do I know? He's like, I do know that the body is amazing, that if we can give it what it needs, it can and heal itself. Like it can perform these functions. And so he stopped doing the blood work and just focused on let's get foundational wellness. Let's get your nutrients in the body and let's focus on digestion. Let's get you absorbing these. And went for, I think it was 90 days, 120 days, so 3 to 4 months. And just like, let's just focus on that. And he said, all of his blood work, all of his like markers that were out came back into a normal range other than his liver. And that's when he discovered that he was drinking like how many alcoholic beverages every day. And so that made sense. And so then he knew, okay, well, let's focus on this now. And so that's really the concept. A lot of the things that we're dealing with can either be minimized or will go away if we're really focusing on that lowest level of nutrition and digestion. Okay, any questions about that before we jump into essential oils and then sleep specifically? And if not, or if you have any cool stories, you're welcome to share them. So the first thing that I want to point out to you, for those who maybe this is the first time in one of these workshops, is that not all essential oils are created equal. And that's not just a sales pitch. And the reason being that because there's such a demand for essential oils now, like people are looking for alternatives, looking for natural ways to take care of their health. They're sick of side effects. They're sick of addictions. They're sick of symptom management, right? And so a lot of people are hearing about the power of essential oils. And because of that, there's a lot of companies who are producing essential oils that are more like fragrances, or they are synthetic, they're contaminated, they're diluted, they've been adulterated in some way. And so this was a study that Roseman University did, and doTERRA did not know that they were doing this, but they were buying different brands of essential oils and they were doing testing on it because they wanted to validate, do essential oils really do anything? And so this is the results that they got, and they came to doTERRA and they reported to them, like, you should know this is what we found. And they said that doTERRA oils were found to be therapeutically relevant in cell growth and rejuvenation. So think about from a foundational level, that if essential oils are helping your cells to grow and to rejuvenate in a healthy way with metabolic health, which is like all of the energy that our body needs to run all of these processes, and then healthy inflammatory response, that's pretty cool. And they also found that essential oils from different competitors had minimal effects. That's pretty powerful. So the things that we're going to be talking about as far as essential oils are specific to doTERRA, right? And so some of the things that are different about doTERRA is that they don't have fillers, they don't have synthetics, that there are third-party laboratory testing, and doTERRA does over 54 tests to ensure that they're pure and potent. They will not put in a bottle and sell to you something that has been shown to be contaminated or diluted, adulterated in some way, right? And that their focus is really the science behind it, partnering with people around the world who are growing these and helping them to grow them in the most sustainable way. And then testing to validate this is what we have in the bottle. And then working with healthcare systems, hospitals, research facilities to validate this. And how can we do it better? And what can we learn from this? And is there dosing? Like, is there a dosage that is the best for certain things? And so it's amazing what they're doing and partnering with, the best in science, the best of nature to help us to understand what we can do to support ourselves. And so again, safety on every bottle of doTERRA, it will tell you if you can use it internally. So just be aware of that. Most of them are for internal use, but you can just read the bottle to, if it doesn't say for internal use, then don't use it for internal use. And then also knowing, like, this is a picture of a couple of sisters that were staying at grandma's house, and they usually would have lavender put on their chest before they would go to bed. And grandma was out of the doTERRA lavender, and so she had some that she had bought from a health food store just up in the cabinet. And so she put that on, and it actually had given them chemical burns. And so again, I just want you to be aware, quality matters. Be careful with things that aren't doTERRA. Costco's peppermint had been tested and it was only 10% peppermint. So just be aware of that. And then I love that these are affordable as far as like per dose. Like, yes, there's some that are more expensive. I know, like frankincense is more expensive. It takes more to get it. They get it from like Somaliland, and how long it takes for these trees to grow and be able to harvest that and distill that and all of that. So there are some that are a little more rare, and so they cost a little bit more money. But a lot of the more common ones, 9 cents a drop, 30 cents a drop for frankincense would be like a little more expensive. But a dose is like 1 to 3 drops. So kind of comparing that. And for me as a mom with 6 kids growing up, the more I could stay out of the doctor, the copay, the time, any kind of prescription side effects, like that meant a lot to me, right? Because our time is money. So just be aware of those things. And then, so we're just going to quickly go through it, like a few different things, just so you're aware, especially if you're new or if you're watching the replay, of maybe ideas of essential oils that you could use, what you can use them for. And for those who are on and using essential oils and you have an experience with something, will you please unmute and share it with it? Share that with us, because it's nice to hear kind of other people's stories with things. So immune support, oregano, great one to have on hand. And these ones are kind of the top 10 that I'm going to cover that most people will have in their medicine cabinet as things come up, right? So your oregano, you can see what it does. Tea tree oil, On Guard is the most popular essential oil blend is On Guard. And so that is like immune boosting. You can diffuse it, put it in the air. It helps with like pathogens, not spreading things around. doTERRA has products with it, like cleaning products and different things, hand sanitizers. It's in toothpaste, just because it's so effective helping support the immune system, helping to protect your body from different things. And then we have the frankincense, which is my favorite. Is there anybody who wants to share an experience from any of those 4 oils? Or I say somebody will, or I'll call on someone. Don't be shy. By the way, welcome Diane and Joanne and Kimberly.
Can I share one real quick?
Go ahead.
So my dad is like totally not natural at all. He's all medicine and all of that. And he would get chronic bronchitis every year. And one day I just said, Dad, you just might want to try oregano. And he takes it religiously now whenever anything crops up, which is very rare for him, but it's fascinating. So whenever somebody starts to get a little cough or a little something bronchial, he'll go, get your oregano. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, bronchitis I remember getting that when I was living in Canada for a while. It is miserable and it can be really hard to get rid of. So that's good. Can you tell us how he takes it? How he uses it?
He actually is really bold and he takes it under his tongue.
That's how my husband does it. I'm like,
yeah, I put it in a capsule, but he'll put it straight under his tongue.
yeah, it's just fast that way.
Yeah.
It was like, that's a little pain compared to like bronchitis for sure. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. And so as far as being mindful with the oils, like I said, you can use them internally if it says internal use on there. So again, under the tongue might be a way. Like Amy said, you could put them in a veggie cap and take it. So if you don't want to taste it, also you could put some in water and drink it. My kids just had something, and so they were gargling it and then swallowing it. So you can take them internally, you can take them put them on topically. So even thinking bronchitis, oregano is really strong. So there's a few oils that are kind of spicy or hot, kind of like jalapenos on your skin. So oregano is one of those for sure. On Guard's another one. Anytime you're not sure, I always just kind of test it out on a sensitive spot. I'm like, if it feels burny, then you want to make sure you dilute it for sure. And that would be with fractionated coconut oil or coconut oil, some kind of oily thing. Even lotion will work. to kind of dilute that down. And so that's something you could rub it on your chest and then diffusing it. So you could put it into a diffuser or just smell it from the bottle, but those are 3 simple ways that you can use most oils. All right, anyone else? Or I'll move to the next group of them, or maybe there will be somebody to share for these ones. So next grouping, we have some different like common medicine cabinet things to have. So your lavender, you can see the different ones that it's good for. And we're going to go into that one a little bit more. Lemon, great detoxifier. It's great for getting gum out of your hair or out of your carpet. It's a really good one. For cleaning, detoxifying. I will just drink citrus oils in my water. It helps to gently detox your body, breaks up mucus. Great to diffuse those citrus oils. Love wild orange. It's my favorite one in diffuser. It's my like natural pick me up. Just makes me feel emotionally really happy. Peppermint, you can see those there. What's the other one? Breathe and digest zen. So having stuff for digestive support when things come up, having things for respiratory support if things come up. You just have things on hand. Anyone have any experiences to share or an experience to share with any of those? Don't be shy. No, yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Peppermint has actually worked really well for my stomach. Like if I'm not, if I've had something that didn't agree, or I mean just about anything, peppermint has been a go-to of mine. And digestion works really well as well. I call it angst, because like if I consume something that, if it's again didn't agree,
Mhm.
then um the digest zen, I've noticed personally that um the peppermint seems to be a little more milder and takes a little bit more consistency, but digest zen for me, I've noticed much more of a quicker reaction or effect or impact.
Yeah. And so how do you use it? Either one of those.
Yeah, I rub it. I and take it internally and then rub it on my stomach.
Yeah, I know. And I tell people all the time, like, it just blows my mind. I can rub that on my stomach and it helps to make it feel better. Because I just like Pepto-Bismol or Tums or, something like that. That just was my mindset. So perfect. Thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
Super simple solution. What I like is like these can go anywhere. It's not like a big bottle of something. And you usually consume it way before it ever expires. So that's also nice. Okay. So pain ones before we go into like kind of the mood, sleep, emotional stuff. These are the top ones for pain. So if you're dealing with some discomfort, deep blue rub, deep blue oil, it's amazing. The deep blue stick is deep blue oil and copaiba in a stick. So you can rub it on. You don't actually have to put it on your hands. It just rub it on. So like this morning when I went running, I take that stick out. It's on my nightstand and I will just put it on my joints as a preventative measure, right? I take it on planes because I'll put it on my back. I'm like, oh, I just get sore there. And it's just a really simple, easy thing to be able to use. Um, and so Deep Blue is a topical one. You'll always want to use that topical. Copaiba is one that you can use topically, aromatically, and also internally. So this is one that's been really helpful for me with some nerve pain that I've dealt with. And so I will take a couple of drops under my tongue, and that has worked really, really well. Okay, so we're going to kind of go, if anyone has any questions about those, feel free to. We're going to move into the kind of the sleep and emotional ones. So adaptive is a blend that is amazing for those anxious feelings. So that's kind of when you're stressing about the future of what could happen, bad things that might happen, that this is something that's really helpful for those neurotransmitters going on in your brain to help kind of calm them down, right? So I love that one. You can use it aromatically. You can put it on topically. It's not one that you take internally, but there are some capsules that is an herbal form that you can take internally. And so the adaptive oil itself is more of a quick fix to a problem. Like I'm feeling anxious like right now, right? So you might just pull that out and breathe it or put it on. The capsule, the adaptive capsules, are something if you deal with anxiety, anxious feelings a lot of the time, right? And so that's something that if you're taking on a regular basis can help minimize those anxious feelings. And sometimes it takes a little bit more time of just taking it consistently before you get to a new level of, oh, I feel normal again, right? So just be mindful of that. It's a great oil. And so if you're having challenges with falling asleep because you're dealing with anxious feelings, that might be your go-to before bed, is using the adaptive. And balance is one that's more like stress, trauma, grief, kind of the mood swings, ups and downs, just trying to keep you balanced, right? Grounded. And so that one smells more like the woodsy trees, and you think about those big, deep roots of, say, a spruce tree, like they're deep and they help ground those trees, keep them solid, right? Like from all the storms and stuff. That's kind of how it makes us feel. We feel grounded, we feel capable. And so that is another one that you could use, diffuse it or put it on. It's not one that you take internally either. And then Serenity is amazing for kind of just calming. If we need kind of an up level from lavender for sleep, this is great for fussy babies, restlessness, irritability. Again, this one is not taken internally, but you can diffuse it, put it on. My daughter, my 11-year-old, she's always had like a sister or something because she's the baby of the six. Always someone around. So when someone's not around for when she's falling asleep, she has a hard time. But she has this spray that she made, this Serenity, and she'll just spray it on her pillow. She's calming down and she can go to sleep so that I don't have to stay there till she falls asleep. Okay, so back to why is sleep so important? So we're going to dive into some of these things as far as like what the science says. Science says that if you sleep less than 8 hours a night, you have a 21 to 26% increased risk of dying. So that's kind of sad. And then Dr. Riggs, he works for doTERRA, he said that we used to think that sleep was an activity where our bodies were dormant. It turns out nothing could be further from the truth. Our hormones are going through a check and balance cycle while we sleep. Our neurons in the brain are going through a dishwasher cleaning cycle, getting rid of all the toxins and debris that have been built up throughout the day. Our brains are filing short-term memory. Somebody mentioned that earlier, into long-term memories. And so without sleep, our bodies quickly decline and are unable to keep homeostasis. So sleep. And I know sometimes maybe different times of life, like our sleep is different, right? Whether there's stress levels, aging, natural hormone changes, relationship changes, it changes. So just knowing we have some tools on hand with that. I love this. Some of the recent research on lavender. So a lavender oil bath decreases stress and cortisol levels in mothers and infants. So think about that. Maybe you know people who have our moms, babies, infants. Inhaling lavender oil in the waiting room prior to a dental visit reduces anxiety in dental patients. So that was a study that was done. Lavender inhalation directly from a glass bottle from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. improves sleep quality of hospital patients in an intermediate care unit. So that would be where you would be diffusing that. And there's diffusers where they'll just go on and off throughout the night. And so that would be an idea, like putting some lavender in your diffuser, turning that on and having it go on and off throughout the night could be helpful. Now this is on, so doTERRA has it's called the Serenity Sleep System. And so these are some of the results, super geeky, sciencey, but I'll kind of read what this means more. So after 6 weeks of using this sleep system, and I'll explain what it is, that it reduced the markers of brain age by 7 years. So there's certain ways that they measure your brain age, and it like reduced the age by 7 years. To me, I'm like, that's crazy. And so those were in regular sleepers. Those were ones who were getting like a regular night's sleep. For those who are irregular sleepers, so maybe they were going to sleep late or whatever, it was less, but it was still impactful just by using this sleep system. Another thing, so here's what it is. So there's Serenity, the oil, which we talk about. And so that's diffusing that oil in the air. So you would be putting it on before you go to bed and having it go throughout the night. There's a sleep stick, which I didn't bring down. I have it on my nightstand. And this is something that you can put on, and it has serenity in it, but also has valerian root and some other things. So that's something you might put on your chest. So you're using it topically, put it on the bottoms of your feet. And then you're taking 1 to 2 of the Serenity soft gels. Now, my go-to, like generally I'll fall asleep, but if ever I wake up on my nightstand, I always have water and I have Serenity, and I just take 2 of those and I'm just out. Like there's not been a time it hasn't worked for me. So I kind of found my go-to, but you can kind of see some of the results um, from this if it's big enough on your thing, if you're not on your phone. But that's kind of the system that they put in place and that was being studied with changing your brain and all of that. So 30 minutes before bed, diffusing, you're turning that on. And then 1 to 2 soft gels about 30 minutes before bed. And then just as you're going to bed, put that on your neck, chest, the stick. So that's, I mean, super simple. Some other things that are suggested with sleep hygiene. So some other things that can support you in getting a more restful night's sleep, staying asleep, is having a consistent schedule, which I know sometimes that's hard depending on your life, right? We have teenagers and adults, and then anyway, it can be crazy. I know. Turning off the electronic devices before you go to sleep, and maybe not even having them in your room. Limit your caffeine intake, make your sleep environment work for you. So maybe if it needs to be cooler, if it needs to be darker, getting some blinds, the lights that are on things, you can put tape over them or something. And go to bed only when you're tired. I don't have a problem with that. Manage stress before going to bed. So if there's other things that you need to do to get out the stress before going to bed. So those are just some ideas of things that can be helpful. And then this is what they said. An advantage over placebo was clinically detectable already at 2 weeks of treatment. So this is using the sleep system, because became statistically significant after 4 weeks and remained so until the end of the 10-week treatment period. So pretty powerful things. Like, just take note. Is there something that you could add to your sleep system? And maybe you sleep well now, but getting those habits in place so that you don't get into like bad habits. Another thing that I want to bring up, and this is another helpful tool depending on who you are. Maybe you want to try something else or for different things. I love this oil. This is like my brand new favorite brand, is Shinrin Yoku, and it stands for forest bathing. So in Japan, they will go out into the forest. They will leave all their electronics behind. And it says the term Shinrin Yoku was coined by the Japanese Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries in 1982. And can be defined as making contact with and taking in the atmosphere of the forest. In order to clarify the physiological effects of Shinrin Yoku, we conducted field experiments in 24 forests across Japan. And so the results were that it showed that the forest environment promote lower concentrations of cortisol, so that's the stress hormone, lower pulse rate, lower blood pressure, greater parasympathetic nerves activity, and lower sympathetic nerve activity than do city environments. So we can't always get out into the forest, right? Or maybe you don't live near a forest. Maybe our lives aren't conducive to do that regularly. But they've shown by diffusing this oil, you're getting that same effect, a physiological effect. So I love that. Like, this is something that we could do super simple to impact ourselves. So this was a study that doTERRA did. Systolic blood pressure fell 30 points, diastolic blood pressure 24 points, pulse 10 points. Morning cortisol levels fell by 23.9, 40% drop in cortisol. That's huge. Lymphocytes, there was an increase. That's awesome. Natural killer cells were increased 59%. What? Like, we're boosting our immune system. And this was one of our friends, Elise. Her husband was having some challenges with his blood pressure, and so he started doing the Shinrin Yoku, and so he was just tracking his days, right? I wish you were on to share. She was going to try to get on, and so she was just he was tracking his blood pressure, and you kind of see the changes that were going on there. And then one last thing I just want to cover before we wrap it up and see if you have any questions or things to share. So one other thing is adaptive blend. So we talked about that. There's the roll-on, there's just the bottle of oil, there's the capsules that I talked about. And so there's multiple ways that you can do that. But those are kind of the main ones. Serenity, sleep system, Shinrin Yoku is another great one. Adaptive can be helpful for sleep. If we're talking in that realm, like those are some of the go-tos if you're needing support with that. And then these were actually pulled from it's research-backed studies that have come out. So if you're dealing with insomnia, so it's a little more severe, right? That lavender and Roman chamomile on the bottom of your feet can be helpful, or 2 drops of lavender on the pillow. So this was just from studies that were pulled from pubmed.gov. Stress, 2 drops cedarwood, lavender, lime. You can take screenshots or whatever, or watch the replay, a drop of lavender, cedarwood, and lime. So there's just different combinations that can be helpful. Exhaustion. So some of you are exhausted. This might be something to try out. Peppermint, rosemary, and cypress on the bottom of your feet, and then the base of your skull 2 to 4 times a day, or peppermint, rosemary, and cypress on your hands. Just rub it, inhale it. So there's multiple ideas for you as far as helping with those things. Now, I did want to mention, if you have a doTERRA account, it's a sleep challenge bundle. There's a special deal on this. And so it comes with the lifelong vitality and the PB Restore. So we're hitting the foundational pieces of our health, right? Nutrients, digestion, absorbing those nutrients to help from that wellness foundational level. And then the sleep system, the Serenity 3-part system comes with that. And then just so you're aware, if you already have an account, you'll get the discounted price, 25% off discounted price. And if you do it as a loyalty rewards order by tomorrow, you'll also get a free adaptive roller that will just come free with that. If you don't have an account with doTERRA and you want to get started with this kit, you can do that. So you can order this kit, you'll get the discounted 25% off, but you'll get these 2 things free. You'll get the adaptive free and the Pebble diffuser free. If you mark a little box that says reoccurring order, if you mark that, that's when this will show up free. So I just wanted you to be aware that that is a new kit and that we have what's called a sleep study. So if you want to participate in that, I can get you connected with it. You could just either reach out to me or whoever invited you to this class, and we can get you connected to do that. It's a 6-week sleep study with doTERRA that you can take an assessment, and then I think you check in every couple of weeks and you just fill out the information. They just want to see how it's going. And if you decide to do that and you complete it, we will have a little prize for you as well. So just be mindful that that's going on. And then also, if you're brand new and you're like, sleep isn't my thing, I want to start with something else, you can customize your own kit. Just make sure that you get the referral link from your friend, whoever invited you, because that will give you the 25% off. And then you can pick whatever you want to order to get started. And doTERRA does have some other kits available, just so you're aware. I'll just show these quickly. I won't go into them, but just know they do have some customized kits depending on what you're wanting to do that are below the wholesale price, lower than 25% off, just because you're starting with a package. And that gives you a free membership. You get to order whenever you want for a year, and you get that discounted price. And there's some other perks with that, but just know that those things are available. Okay, any questions before we're going to do a giveaway, a little drawing, but any questions before we go, or anything to cover, or any stories you want to share? Like, my chat disappeared. There we go. Okay. No comments, questions? Well, then, just a 30-second commercial here. I do want to share with you that I know the economy is crazy. And so sometimes people will go without things because they can't afford it. And one of the things that's really sad for me is that if, like, I really want to be purchasing or using these things or switching out some things, swapping out toxic things for less toxic things, but I can't afford it, right? Just know that there is a way that you can either receive free product credits by sharing your doTERRA link with people. If you share, like, friends, family want to get their own account, you have a little code that you can send to them, and they get a free account. They get 25% off. You get 20% of whatever they purchase, which is nice. That can be a way that then you can use those doTERRA dollars to then purchase products that you're wanting, right? Or for those who are wanting to create an extra income, that you can partner with us. You can invite people to these classes. We can help you to create your own business, whether that's to create an extra $500 a month or more, to help with those things, helping people get connected to things that can change their life as far as their health, emotional. There's just so many things from. I love that doTERRA has brought so many things to me, like flexibility with my time, solutions for my family, tons of friends by all the people that I've like been able to interact with. So I've really loved and appreciated what they've offered to me on multiple levels. So just know that that's available. If that's something that you're open to, next week. So we're doing a wellness workshop on Wednesday, again at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to be showing you a really cool wellness assessment that you have access to that can help you to know kind of where you're at and maybe some things to be working on. So Lisa's going to be teaching us more about that. But following that class at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I will be doing a business overview, a kind of a let's take a peek inside what doTERRA has to offer as far as compensation and how you can get your products paid for or create extra income if that's something that you're open to. So I just wanted to invite you to that. All right. Oh, and one last thing. If ever you want to host a class, whether at one like this, a workshop online or in person, we have some fun gifts for you if you want to do that. So a keychain, this is like a little take wherever you want, oils. And so just reach out to the person who invited you to this class and they can help set that up, whether it's, like I said, online, people all over, your friends, family all over the country, or if it's a local class, we want to make that work for you. Okay. So let's do a little giveaway. Now I need to stop sharing and I'm going to put what I'm giving away is Shinrin Yoku. So this is the roller. Love it. Put it in your purse or bag or whatever. It smells amazing. I'm going to put in the chat a quick survey for you to fill out. If I can find the link again. Okay, Canva, where to go? Why is it not? I need to, okay, I'm here. Where's my link? Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to open up another one. Okay, while you're there, here we are. I'm getting closer to it. link I can copy. Patience with Stacy. All right. Now, where's my chat? There we go. Okay, so the link is in the chat. If you click on the link and just fill out the survey, that will just go into a Google spreadsheet and I'll see them appear. And then we'll do the giveaway for the Shinrin Yoku. So if you'll just take a second to fill that out. I see, Nanya, that you said, with the Shinrin oil, is there a suggested frequency of diffusing application? So depending on what you're wanting to use it for. So yeah, it can be diffused daily. So I have it in our plugin. If you've seen those wall plugin diffusers that doTERRA has. So I have a bottle attached to that and it's censored. So anytime we walk past, it's like squirts of Shinrin Yoku. I love it. But you can also, one of the things, like if you're trying to work on sleep or if you have blood sugar regulation issues, blood pressure things going on, that's been found really helpful to diffuse during the night. So you're breathing that all in during the night. So that's another way you could use it. The roll-on would be throughout the day, right? Just as needed. I just love it. I don't even know. It really is. It's like the moments when you've gone out into the forest, like you're just so present and connected with nature. Like all of your worries melt away. You're breathing in these amazing chemicals coming from the plants, right? Like that's what it feels like. So any moment you're just needing that. I need to be grounded. I need to be centered. This could be something you help pull out. So I just love that. Faye said, yeah, it can be diffused daily and for helping to lower cortisol or blood pressure to diffuse 8 hours during the night. Yeah, love that. Okay, let's see if we have people's coming in. Fucking like one of my kids. He says that all the time. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far filled out. Anyone else want to fill it out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many are on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If anybody else wants to fill it out, I will give you 1 more minute. I'm going to put it in my random.org. Okay. Where are we at? 1 more second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Anyone else? Yell at me if you don't want me to do it right now. 8, 9, 10. Okay, I have 10. Let's share my screen and see who we got here. Okay, this is like the roll of the dice. Generate. Number 1. So the first person to fill it out, who was quick on the draw? Da-na-na, da-na. It was Cora Bauer. Cora, congratulations. You won the Shinrin Yoku. And I don't remember if the address is there, but you are friends with Elise. So I will make sure that I get that to you. We'll get your address and everything. So we'll get that sent to you. All right. Any questions before we hop off? This will be recorded. You're welcome to share with other people or watch the replay. Like I said, next week, we will have our wellness workshop. We'll go through some foundational things and the wellness assessment that you're able to take. It's called Power Me through doTERRA, and some fun stuff that's coming out with that. And then afterwards, we're doing that business overview if you want to. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Will the recording be available? Yes.